Welcome back to the Goal2Go podcast, man. Episode 22, NFL Championship weekend just around the corner, man. Had to hop on Zoom for this one. A little under the weather, man. Past couple days. You know what you said last time, show must go on. So we here, man. Your Eagles, one game away from the NFL Super Bowl, man. How you feeling?
Feeling great, man. Still alive, still fighting. Ready for San Fran.
Okay. Say less. I got a couple hot or not for Tyler today, man. Gonna do a segment against the player and then obviously break down last week and then this week's upcoming games. So let's start you off, man. Keep it in the NFC East. Dallas Cowboys, man. They should move on and find another quarterback besides Dak.
I'm gonna say that is a hot take just because of how much they're paying him. And I mean, Dak's not a horrible quarterback. He's an average middle of the pack quarterback. So I mean, are you really gonna find, better than Dak Prescott? Like, what are you gonna your draft pick's too low to get a rookie. Those guys are going top 10 this year. And then free agent quarterback like Derek, would you like Derek Carr and Dak are the same person? Like it does there's no makes no difference. Keeping the same head coach, McCarthy's still gonna be there. Keeping OC Kellen Moore still there, like it just get more time in the system. Dak already knows the system better than any other quarterback. I just think it just comes down to he's got to improve and they got to make plays. That's really all it comes down to. But I don't. I think it's a hot take to move on from Dak. It's not really realistic at this point.
All right. Yeah, I was just about to ask you the follow up, like what do you think they need to improve on? But you think they're missing anybody? I mean, you look at the running back room, it's fine. Pollard, Zeke,
Bro,
receivers,
they
they
need
can add
another.
another.
They need more receivers, bro. Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, you saw like last year, Amari and CD were like a good combo, 1 and 2. Amari goes to your Cleveland Browns, and then you see CD Lamb was yes, he took that step. He became a true wide receiver one. He's more than capable of handling, that one receiver role. But I mean, at the end of the day, like that's like the only real receiving threat. If you look at all the teams left in the playoffs in these championship games, they have multiple receiving threats or the greatest quarterback in the league in Patrick Mahomes and the best tight end. But the Eagles got AJ Brown and Smitty, two wide receiver ones that Jalen Hurts can look at both of them. Joe Burrow got T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and you could throw in Tyler Boyd. We've been saying they're the best receiving duo for the past 2 years, or even trio. And then over there in San Fran, we talk about their weapons all the time. Debo Kittle, McCaffrey lining up as a receiver. Ayuk's a really, really underrated weapon. It's just in Dallas, you got CeeDee Lamb and then Tony Pollard had a breakout year. Like after that, it's not much else, you feel me? So I think they need to bring in more weapons. Their defense is pretty much set. Michael Parsons is arguably the best defensive player in the league. Secondary could use a little bit of help, but the Cowboys are just. It seems like when the lights are brightest and like the situation matters the most, it's just the worst. Bro, I don't know. Dak's got to clean up those turnovers too.
Yeah, I was about to say, he hasn't gone a game where he's followed up a turnover-less game without a turnover. So anytime he's not had a turnover the
Yeah,
following week, he's had one.
I mean he's played
Um,
what 12 games this year and
12
led the league
games.
in picks. Like,
Yeah.
come on, bro.
Um, so
Josh
this one,
Allen esque.
I was you're on the right page, man, because these next two both pertain to the Bills. So we also had controversy with Stephon Diggs. So how or not, the Bills are gonna move on from Stephon this offseason.
No, that's a hot take. Stephon Diggs is the only reason their offense is in this place. Josh Allen is a great talent. Super, super, like, we all know he is top three quarterback, top five quarterback, whatever you want to argue. But on that offense, like, if your name is not Josh Allen, like, Stephon Diggs is the only one making plays. And then we can go back to what I was just talking about. Like, outside of Stephon Diggs on that offense, like, what other weapons, what other help does Josh Allen really have? Like, Dawson Knox, yeah, he's a cool tight end, but I mean, he's not Travis Kelsey. He's not like, George Kittle or one of those upper echelon tight ends. And then outside of Stephon Diggs, you got your boy Big Play Gabe, but like, big game Gabe. But I mean, he's not catching a 40-yard bomb down the field, what is he really doing? I think they need more help on the offense. And I mean, we've been saying it for years, bro. Like, are they ever going to get a run game? Like, you can't just have Josh Allen be a running back. They just started running the ball more down the stretch this year.
They did.
Singletary and Cook look better, but I mean, you just got to run the ball more. You need more. You saw what happened in that game against the Bengals. They just got out physical, like in the line of scrimmage. They just couldn't keep up with them. You know, ultimately that cost them. So yeah, I think I would not move on from Stephon Diggs. He's like your second best player on that team. There's no way.
And I just think his frustration was at the end of the game, man, he wasn't getting kind of force fed. You mentioned like he's the only weapon down the stretch in the Super Bowl. You remember Matt Stafford. The Rams were struggling. They gave Cooper Kupp the rock there, said, you know, forget everything else. It hasn't been working. It's fine. Cut the ball. And I felt like Diggs kind of wanted that himself last
For
week.
sure. And then I think that also comes down to Josh Allen, where it's like, bro, we talked about this last week. This man always going for the big play. Like, it's third down and 7. It's, third and short. Like, bro, just take the first down. Instead, he throwing the ball deep, 40 yards down the field, 60 yards down the field, going for a big play where it's not what you want to be doing in those situations. But that's Josh Allen, you feel me? Well, that's Josh Allen without Brian Dable, let me say that. That's just how he gonna play.
So you said top three, top five. Just your opinion. Is Josh Allen inside or outside that top three category right now in QBs?
Right now,
I got him outside.
that's tough, bro. So we talking like this past season or like
Just
just
this
based off
season.
like
Like forget the future. Just this year, is he a top three QB?
I would say he's right he's like right on the outside. I'll have him like at 4.
Okay, give me your breakdown. Top three.
Well, one I would say is Mahomes.
Okay,
2, we see what Burrow doing on the stretch.
I
And then
agree.
3, I'm a rock with my boy Hurts, man. A little Philly bias, but he's had an outstanding year when he's been healthy. And then
I don't
you
even
could
think it's
slot
Philly
in
bias, bro. I'll put Hurts
you could slot in Josh
above.
Allen right there.
Okay,
And then,
yeah.
bro, if you want to argue Justin Herbert, I'll listen. Even Trevor Lawrence, bro, down the stretch, he played a lot better football than Josh Allen, not turning the ball over. You could argue it, but I mean, his talent is there. Everything is there. It's just unfortunate what happened at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's been a lot of memes going around. Stephon Diggs still standing there watching the Chiefs celebrate for the last 3 years, and it's been a little minute for the Bills.
A
They
little
think
minute. It's been fuck. When's the last time
nah,
they made
but
like 4 straight Super Bowls and lost all of them? Like they haven't.
I'm just talking about like ever since that moment. Like you think, all right, the Bills gonna come back, Bills, Chiefs,
Do you
this
think
and
their
that.
Super Bowl window is closed?
Do I think it's closed or do I think
Yeah.
that it's a small window? I think it's a small window.
Do
I
you think
don't
they still have a chance to win the Super Bowl?
I still think they got a chance to win a Super Bowl, but I mean, with each passing minute, I'm gonna go less and less likely. Just the fact that you said they don't have a run game at all, and that's
Mm-hmm.
something you need down the stretch to win. You even see Andy Reid doing it. You get Pacheco, McKinnon; those guys got it going over there. But you look at the Bills, man. It's just they come up short and they find a way,
Yeah.
even when it looked like they beat the Chiefs where they have like 20 seconds, 13, whatever it was, get that field goal off. Like you
Mm-hmm.
just look at it. I mean, they had that game won and they can't get a stop. They say, the defense wasn't there. Well, the defense was there this year, and they're trying to put the blame on the defense against the loss of Cincinnati. Um, it's just a lot of things going on in Buffalo, man. They have the talent, they got the players, they got a
So how
big
many
arm.
years, like realistically, do you think?
I
Like,
say they got 3 more years. If they don't win a Super Bowl, I think it's over.
bro, I was listening to Nick Wright, and he's like the biggest Bills hater out there. And I mean, I give him credit. He's the
I agree
Chiefs
with
fan.
him.
Yeah, but he was talking about a statistic where it was like pretty interesting, where it was every single like quarterback and head coach matchup, like if they've ever won like a Super Bowl, like their first one has been within 5 years, like of them being together. And he was like the two teams that were in the playoffs that like it was their 5 years was the Ravens, and like we see
Hmm.
what's going on with that, and then the Bills.
I
So
was just
like
about
after that, like coaches and quarterbacks, like those same two have never won a championship together. So that was like an interesting stat because it makes sense. Like at this point, like after 5 years, like we know what you are. Like either you're one of those like super, super competitive teams and in 5 years you should be able to figure out how to win a Super Bowl, or are you just stuck and you kind of is it time to move on? Which is I think a serious question that Bills need to have because I do think the Bills are one of those upper echelon teams, but like we said, it's been 5 years and we've yet to see them being able to, get over that hump. So it's kind of interesting to see, like what else really is there for them other than kind of changing schemes? Because you're not going to get rid of Josh Allen. You're not going to get rid of, like we said, Stephon Diggs. Like, is it time for a new head coach?
I
Is
was
it
about to
time
say, is
for,
Sean McDermott on the
something
chopping
like,
block?
and it's tough because, like, bro, you're like winning games, you're winning your division, like, you're making the playoffs, but ultimately, like, you just can't get over that final hump. And can we even say final hump? Because I mean, they made the AFC Championship game of that once, but the last 2 years they've been bounced out in the second round. Like,
Yep. And then the one time they made it, bro, that's when my boy Big Play Gabe had the career day against Kansas City and still lost. So, I mean, even when
mm-hmm.
it goes right for him, bro, it's just I do think they need either a scheme change or a head coaching change. And like you said, I mean, it's been 5 years, so it's really time's ticking for the Bills. I think probably more than any other team, more than the Ravens. I mean, they got some questions to answer themselves, but
Yeah, the Ravens a whole nother. That's
yeah,
different.
I just think at the end of the day, the Bills they got to make something shake, and I do think you're playing in Buffalo without a dome. You knew it was going to be snowing. I got Bills fans saying Josh Allen's literally built for this, and you watched what happened. I mean, the Bengals like they're not a great defense, but they're not a bad defense, and 10
They've been
points.
playing good defense over the last few. Yeah, they've been playing
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
and then on the other side, you had the Bengals, who everyone talked about their own line. Joe Burrow wasn't missing a beat. Jamar Chase wide open over the middle of the field. Like, and for the Bills, they got Trey White, Poyer. They had them all back there, and it's supposed to be an elite defense, and it just didn't hold up. So I do think time's ticking for him.
I think
Um,
that all started at the line of scrimmage, bro. Joe Mixon got it going. So my JP aren't
yeah,
even
well,
looking good,
I
and
didn't I say it last week?
they haven't even been running the ball that much this year. Like they haven't had a good run attack, but against the Bills, that front line, they just pretty much had their way with that makeshift on line too.
Right, I did say it on the podcast. With Joe Mixon, I mean, you got a bunch of backups in that O line. It's easier to run block than pass block in the NFL at any level.
It is exactly,
So
yeah.
I mean, Mixon definitely was a part of that. It took some pressure off, and I agree, man. So I mean, that's all I have for you. Uh, so I'm gonna jump into that player comparison. I just did a real simple one. Two running backs, strictly
Mhm.
rushing stats. Both kind of started the year off as backups, but um, one due to injury. I mean, both of them due to injury. One more production on the other side, but
Mhm.
player one had 1,040
Wait, can I
rush.
try to guess who they are before you even say it?
Oh,
Because I have two names that just came to mind.
go ahead.
Is it Jamal Williams and Ramondre Stevenson?
One of them is Ramondre Stevenson. One of them
The
is not
1,000 yards,
Jamal.
right?
Yeah, Ramondre had 1,040 yards, 9 TDs, and
Yeah.
4.95 yards a carry. And the other guy
Who's the
still
other
got a
one?
thousand yards, but it's not Jamal.
What's his stats?
I think the running back touchdown would give it away for Jamal Williams. But
Yeah.
player two, he had 1,035 yards, only three rushing touchdowns, and 4.92 yards a carry in the NFC.
I have a name that I think it is, but I'm not sure.
It's a bad
I'm just
team.
guessing. Oh, a bad team. Okay.
Yeah.
That takes that out. In the NFC,
Yeah.
it's not Rashad White. The Bucks didn't have that much rushing. He got
They're
a
in that
thousand
division.
yards
Yep.
in the NFC South.
Yep.
It's not Kamara.
Nope.
So the Panthers?
Nah.
No, because he just did Foreman. The
Yeah,
last time. So, bro, what is the other team?
the Atlanta
Oh, is
Falcons.
it uh the rookie?
Yeah,
What's his name?
he has your name, bro.
Um,
Tyler Algier.
Tyler Algier. Yeah. I had to think. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
who else in the NFC
I
South?
saw he had 1,000 yards rushing. I didn't believe
I
it,
knew he
bro.
had a
Like
thousand.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know that, bro. I mean, hats off to him starting behind
I mean,
Patterson. I know he went off against the Browns, but like, damn.
once Ritter came in, they just stopped throwing the ball. Like,
He, let me ask you, so do you think the Falcons are the team most in shambles right now, or
in terms of like, what do you mean in shambles?
like
Like
no
having no
direction? Like, yeah. I mean, what
Falcons
is
are up there.
Desmond Ritter really the guy they're trying to build around? Because I don't think so.
No, Falcons are up there. I would say the Texans are up there too, but depending on this upcoming draft, they got a lot of capital. Whoever they take with that top pick. Bears are close. Like outside of Justin Fields, what do you have? I think Falcons. Yeah, the Falcons.
See, like the
They
Bears are still in a better position because they got a quarterback to build around.
Yes, they got a
What? Well, the
quarterback. Like
Falcons, like, what? You're gonna build around Kyle Pitts? Like, I mean, he's a great skill
Drake
position,
London.
but like, come on, yeah.
They got decent weapons,
They
and
could low
then
key
Chris.
get Derek Carr and be all right.
Their O line is pretty good too. Chris Lindstrom had a really good year, one of the
He
best
did,
guards in the league. You pretty much that defense is kind of suspect though. Like outside of Grady Jarrett, AJ Terrell, like it's nothing really there.
yeah.
I mean, I'll probably bro. Like what is this Desmond Ritter? Like Panthers are up there too, bro. Like although they have a
Panthers
pick where
are.
they got a top 10 pick where hopefully they could try to move up and make something shake depending on how the draft falls. It's gonna be interesting, but yeah, I would say them. Raiders are sneaky, low key. Like, what are they doing too? Like,
I
they don't
mean,
get Tom
that's
Brady. They're
every
pretty
year,
like,
bro, for the Raiders.
if
Like
the
they,
Raiders don't get Brady, like I don't know. Like they're gonna release Derek Carr. Like Stidham can't be your answer. Like
yeah, they got a. I mean, they got weapons too. So I think that Brady sign would be nice in Oakland. I think you said Lamar to the Jets, right? That was your take.
yeah, Lamar to the Jets or the
Yeah,
49ers.
yeah, I'm not mad at
If
it.
they could find it, bro. If they could find out a way to get Lamar in San Fran, bro. Like
I don't see that possible.
Dolphins
That's
fans would be in shambles
Dolphin. I think everybody being.
because
I don't
y'all
even.
undefeated record would be.
I
Oh no, that'd be the team I
don't
could see
know. I
giving the
think you'll
best
have
run.
one Lamar-esque game where he turns the ball over one time too many.
Bro, if they didn't give all their picks away for Trey Lance, they maybe could trade for him. But because like if
Bro,
you do
that's
like Trey
crazy. They still
Lance
have Trey
for like
Lance, bro.
they do, bro.
That's
Like
insane.
bro, he hasn't played football since like
Week
2020, bro.
3. Who, Trey Lance?
Yeah, like a
I mean,
full
he played.
season.
Yeah. Because he
Because
sat
I
out,
remember he
right?
like sat out a COVID year.
Yeah.
Then they didn't. He sat behind Jimmy G last year. Played a few
That's
games and then he got
facts.
hurt early this year. Like he hasn't like I don't know. We'll see though. I still
Yeah.
believe in Trey Lance.
Of course you do. You've been watching too much Colin. He hates him now, don't he?
I don't think
I think
probably
he
after
broke
how
Liv's heart. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say, I don't know, bro. I'm not Trey Lance, so I can't speak on that.
Trey Lance, that dude, man. That's the only player comparison I have for this week.
All right, I'll give you bro. These stats are pretty weird. I'll give you a weird one, bro. All right, so player one has 35 receptions, 523 yards, and 7 touchdowns. While player two has 86 receptions, 882 yards, but 0 touchdowns.
All right, now are either of these a tight end, bro? Because that first one sounds
No, they're
like
both receivers. They're both receivers.
7 touchdowns. Who was getting in the end zone like crazy?
Which one are you picking though?
Oh, give me a rundown. What was the 800 yards on 80 catches?
So receiver one had 35 receptions for 523 yards and 7 touchdowns, while player two had 86 receptions, 882 yards, and 0 touchdowns.
I'll rock with player two. 35 catches, 500 yards. That's insane. He's averaging like
And
what, 20
seven
some
touchdowns.
20 something yards of reception. Like, so is Gabe Davis had to have more than 500 receiving yards.
He did.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
it's not Gabe.
Um, bro, these wide receiver twos, right?
Um,
Two,
Player
three.
one is a wide receiver two. Player two is like wide receiver 1/2.
All right, so one of them Drake London then, like,
No, that's a good guess though.
damn. Trying to think. D Hop, one of them.
No. But I will say player one did miss some games due to injury though.
Player one did miss games to injury. Damn. Mike, nah, is it Mike Will?
Mm-mm.
Not on the same
They
team though.
are no. No, player one is in the NFC, player two is in the AFC.
Damn. Let's go.
Player one is I'm not gonna lie, player one is tougher, but player two you should,
Player two and player
yeah.
two's in the NFC or AFC,
Player two is in the AFC.
and that's a
800
wide
yards and
receiver
86
one.
receptions.
That's the wide receiver one, right?
One
Or
slash two.
one
Like
slash
there's
two.
no like true receiver one on that team, I would say. You could argue receiver one.
Like Christian Kirk. No,
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 but
we
that's a
did
good
him.
guess.
Damn,
No, I didn't
bro.
do Kirk. It's not
Um,
Kirk.
bro, do they play for the Ravens?
No, but it's that's
Okay,
in the same division.
then
Or
it's
yeah,
T Higgins for number two.
no.
Nah.
T. Higgins scored a touchdown.
Um.
Well, you got player two has zero touchdowns, fam.
Oh, Deontay Johnson. I'm tripping, bro. He had zero
Yes,
touchdowns. Yeah, I forgot. I saw that stat the other day.
yes.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson, bro. Yeah, I take
Mm-hmm.
Deontay Johnson too, probably over this guy who 7 touchdowns. It just goes to show you Kenny Pickett, bro. But um, damn, player two in the NFC.
Player
Um,
one did not
yeah,
have like a good quarterback situation either.
didn't
I'll
have a
say
good
that
Q.
in the NFC.
Um, 7 touchdowns. Mm, NFC. Let's go. Not on. We did Chris Olave.
Yeah, that's a good guess though.
Yeah, because he had touchdowns and low receiving yard.
Drake London and Chris Olave are good guesses for him. I'm gonna say
so
that.
so it's another rookie. Um, in the NFC, who's a rookie? Damn, 7 tutties. You got a division for me, bro?
East.
NFC East. Man, Giants.
Nope. I don't think the Giants had a receiver with 7 touchdowns this year. Giants probably wish they had this player on their team.
Bro,
Who's your favorite quarterback, bro?
in the NFC. Oh, Taylor Hunt. That's Scary Terry.
No, he's the number two.
Oh, Jahan Dotson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John
7 touchdowns.
Dotson.
He
Yeah.
went crazy for that couple weeks.
Hmm.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
That is crazy though. 523 yards on 35 receptions. It's nuts.
Yeah, it definitely is. That wraps up.
Yeah,
Uh,
so you taking Deontay over Jahan Dotson, fan?
yeah, probably. Straight up. You taking Stevenson? You taking Tyler Algier?
Or
I
Mondre?
didn't. Yeah, I didn't even ask
I
you
think
that,
just because I had him on my fantasy team that I went undefeated on, by the way.
bro. Anyways, just last week's games, man. Um, obviously
You
Chiefs
want to
Jack the first
start off
game
with the
up.
Chiefs Jags? Yeah.
Yeah, I went 4-0. You went 3-1. We both sit at 7-3 for the playoffs. So
Although, bro, that 3-1 is with an asterisk, bro. I literally said the Bengals could win, but I'm just picking the Bills and stick with my early season predictions, bro. Like, I would have picked Cincy, like
either team
honestly.
could win, bro. Like you say that every week.
Nah, 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 nah. Fam, I
So
literally said that before I picked them, bro. I like Cincy, but I'm gonna route with the Bills.
it is what it is, man. Jags Chiefs storyline. Pat Mahomes with that knee ankle injury.
Yeah,
Will he be healthy next week? That's a good question. He came back, and of course, all the announcers had to suck off Chad Henne beating the Browns in the playoffs. Like he didn't throw a 4 yard out route and
yeah, yeah.
scramble on the
Flashbacks,
man
huh, fam?
coverage on 3rd and 15 or whatever it was. Yeah, of course I did. Because they call that helmet to helmet on Rashad Higgins, man. That Chiefs dynasty's over. But anyways, I mean it was a good game. Jags, they played hard.
They
Doug
did.
Peterson has some Doug Peterson-esque play calls late in the game with some misdirections, and I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, if you're the Chiefs, you got to be ready for like these sneaky plays like he's known for, and it almost got him to
Yeah.
win. They were close, man. You just couldn't finish it off. Chiefs the better team even without Mahomes. I think it just showed that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player of our generation.
Yeah, and I completely agree with what you said. And I also think this game just came down to, experience in the postseason where down the stretch, the Jags are the ones with the two big costly turnovers. And then for the Chiefs, you got the best quarterback in the league going out, but yet you're still able to stay in a long touchdown drive. So that just shows, the experience, coaching, players been there before. They know what to do in these situations. Whereas for the Jags, I mean, I think this is just the first of many playoff experiences for them. They got the coach, they got the quarterback, they got the capital free money, to bring in some receivers. They got Calvin Ridley coming back next year, a true receiver one. We know how good he is in the NFL. So I think the Jags they're one of the brightest spots right now in NFL in terms of future, because everything's pretty much set up for them. They just got to go out there and execute. But it just came down to experience. Two costly turnovers down the stretch. Agnew with the big fumble to bring the. I think they was down three. They could have took the lead and tied it up right there, and then Trevor Lawrence with a chance to win. Just a bad throw, interception, turn the ball over. Where you literally can't turn the ball over. So growing pains. I think the Jags will be all right. They're in that division, a bad division, so they should be able to run the
Yep,
table for the next couple of years. So I think the Jags will be all right. It just came down to the experience and the Chiefs being a better team.
for sure. Next game up, Giants Eagles, and I kind of I don't want to say I saw this one coming, bro, but Eagles handled business. Didn't matter what the Giants did really in this game at all. Um, Eagles had answers, and Daniel Jones couldn't get it going. Even Saquon couldn't get it going. They really looked at a standstill in terms of the whole game, really. The highlight I'm taking away from this game is that someone in Philly stole CJ Gardner Johnson's whip or whatever it
Of
was.
course,
So
bro. Eagles have
so
a
I'm
big
just
playoff win. That's what you want to bring up, bro.
yeah, bro. You gonna
Like
steal your
what?
star safety's whip? Like, come on,
Bro,
Philly.
that has nothing to do with football,
Zero
bro.
class, zero class. But realistically, I mean, the real storyline was AJ Brown on the sidelines. Probably that's how he was like demanding the ball up like 20 or whatever it was. Uh, but other than
Here we
that, the
go.
Eagles look fine.
Just pushing all these negative narratives, bro. And the Eagles come off a 30-point plus playoff victory, bro. I
Exactly. So
get
what
it,
is
bro.
AJ Brown complaining
It's cool,
about?
bro. It's cool, bro.
All right.
Anyways, those are some interesting takeaways you have from the game. But my two biggest takeaways was Jalen Hurts and Lane Johnson and Chauncey. They all came back. They all, even if they weren't 100%, they were healthy enough, to make the same impact they were when they were completely healthy. Jalen Hurts, we all know about his throwing shoulder has been in question, since that Bears game came out against the Giants. I mean, first drive came out big throw to Smitty. And then the main part is we wanted to see if he was able to run. He made a couple nice runs. He didn't run all over the field. He only had about 30 something yards, but he was running. He took a few hits and he got right back up and that shoulder was looking good. And I mean, at this point, that's really all you can ask for. If he's still able to be, a somewhat physical runner, be able to take those hits, be able to, still move around and get back up. That's all we need from him. And then Lane Johnson, that Giants D line, which gave the Vikings a very hard time a week before. That's D line is supposed to be, the staple of that Giants defense. And Lane Johnson with that abdominal injury held up just as perfectly fine. He was good on the edge. Thibodeau really didn't have an impact. Kept those guys at bay. And Chauncey Gardner, he was out playing slot because we got Maddox is still injured. So he was still out there running around making plays. It was just good to see everybody that was, had some injury questions be able to play, at their full strength. And I think, I mean, at this point, Eagles did what they were supposed to do. 10 straight wins in Philly against the Giants. They can't really come in Philly and win. And yeah, kind of like you said, I mean, Giants really weren't able to get anything going. And Eagles were able to, kind of do one of those vintage Eagle wins during this season where they go up big in the first half and just coast to the victory at the end. And it was good to see, pull the starters out at the end there, give those guys a little bit of rest. But I mean, it's what we expected. You feel me? So it was a really good win. Run game got going too. I mean, we didn't really need to throw the ball. So Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott had his, annual touchdown against the Giants.
Shout out
All
Boston
good
Scott,
things.
man.
All good things. Yeah.
Shout out Boston Scott. Plus 210 on an anytime touchdown, cashing out. I just dropped my mic, so hopefully it wasn't too loud when it fell. But yeah,
Do you
bro.
think the Giants paid Daniel Jones? Because they didn't exercise his 5th year option. So either they tag him or they gotta pay him, bro.
I mean, why even tag him at that point? Either commit to him if you think you will win now, or kind of go in
Bro,
a
what do
little bit
you
of
what
rebuild.
would you do? Would you pay Daniel Jones?
Probably not. Um, I mean, I'm just being real. Like,
Nah,
you look at
I
all the
get it, bro.
quarterbacks across the board. Like, yeah, he's good. Things in that Dak category similar.
That's a
Not
good
gonna
one. Who
be.
you taking, Daniel Jones or Dak, bro?
I'll probably take Daniel Jones, younger, got more leg. But at the end of the day, like you look at them, look at the quarterbacks that win Super Bowls. Very rarely do you get like the Brock
Eli
Purdy where you
Manning's.
have a chance. Yeah, the Joe Flacco. I mean, he was a good quarterback, but he was never the best quarterback. You look at
Yeah.
guys, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford was elite last year. So when you look at it, like I don't think there's ever been a time where you're like Daniel Jones could lead a team to a Super Bowl. You kind of got to build around him and kind of produce some big plays around these guys. Like
Yeah.
kind of like San Fran. Like I think he'd be just fine in that system, but I think anybody would be just fine in that system. Like at the end of the day, I
Shit, they
just
could put me out there, man. They could put you out there.
I'm just turning around, hitting the ball off, man, running RPO and call it a day. That's
That's
it.
literally all they do.
That's it. Yeah. So I mean, I'll take Danny Dimes. I'll take Vanilla Vic over Dak. Um,
No,
Bengals Bills game, man. That was a pretty much. I mean, I don't want to say I saw it coming, but watching the Bills last week, the week before against the Dolphins, they looked ugly, and I know the Bengals didn't look too hot against the Ravens, but I think the Ravens are just more
I,
competitive than what the Bills are. Like you look at it,
yeah.
you could say both of them are going against backup quarterbacks. Bills going against a backup third stringer that can't even like probably relay the plays. You clearly saw
Mm-hmm.
the pre-snap penalties, and you saw them get bailed out end of the game. So kind of similar to the Bengals, but you got Joe Burrow who's won big games, not only in the National Football League, but he's won them in college. He's been to a Super Bowl. Josh Allen sort of trying to get that stigma off Buffalo and him to go out, win that big game, send him to the AFC title, and they just couldn't get it going. You mentioned Joe Mixon getting the ground going for the Bengals. That really just took a lot of pressure off and allowed that O line to ease up. Joe Burrow sits back in the pocket. He has time. And you got Jamar Chase over the middle of the field wide open to walk in for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it was tough for the Bills, kind of like similar to the Giants. Really couldn't get anything going, anything they did, the drives would just stall, whether it was bad play, turnover, whatever it was. They couldn't put together a full drive, and the Chiefs. I mean, the Bengals showed why they went to a Super Bowl before, and the Bills didn't.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier. The Bills just they couldn't get anything going offensively, you know. And then Joe Burrow, I mean, he's cerebral in the pocket. I mean, whenever Joe Burrow like makes a pass and makes a throw, it's like he knows exactly where it's going. He knows right where to throw it. Like everything just looks like on time. As to where Josh Allen, he's in the pocket. He's trying to, hold the ball, push the ball downfield to make a big play. Whereas you see Joe Burrow, he's just, hitting the check down, hitting the running back out the backfield, and then he's, knows exactly when, okay, this is the time to hit T or Jamar Chase deep over the middle on the post. So it just kind of Joe Burrow's decision making, I think, is, arguably the best in the league and kind of what sets him apart from all the other quarterbacks. Because I mean, the way he is able to read defenses and pick apart defenses is like it's crazy, bro. It's damn near Tom Brady, like when he was with the Patriots. Where it's like if Brady has the ball, it's just coming out quick. It's going exactly where it needs to go. He's not going to make any bad decisions, and ultimately, it just came down to Joe Burrow protecting the football, and then we saw more classic Josh Allen. Wouldn't be a Josh Allen game without a pick, even if it is at the end of the game. I think he had what, one or two fumbles. I don't know if he lost any, but he's still putting the ball on the ground. And kind of like you mentioned, you talked about it earlier. The Bengals they look like the better team. They look like they wanted it more. Came out, like you said, that run game just punched the Bills in the mouth. And I think they outperformed the Bills on every single level. And then they had what, 10 points. They scored one touchdown in the first half, I
Yeah,
believe. And then that was pretty much it. They couldn't get anything else going. So when you play in a team like the Bengals and they have a quarterback like Joe Burrow that just isn't going to make too many mistakes, he's going to put the ball right where it needs to be, and that game plan is going to be sound for him. Kind of, you got to be on your A game to beat them, and I don't think we've seen the Bills play their A game since they won in Kansas City. Like it's like every single Bills game, it's been like, yeah, they won, but or they did this, but it's always question marks. So we talked about it earlier. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens in Buffalo.
yeah, for sure. Will last game up, Cowboys, Niners. Talk of basically everything all week. I mean, the Cowboys once again fall up short.
You saw that post Devo Samuel made.
Nah, what do you say?
He made like he like posted after they won, and then he like posted a picture of like Micah Parsons, like a quote he said. It was like, "Yeah, they're exactly who we want," or something like that. It's
Oh
like, "Oh, we
yeah,
want them." Yeah, and then Parsons like commented on the post was like, he was like, "Oh, it's like y'all got to win." He was like, "Oh, but what did you do?" or something like that.
yeah, he did say
Oh, why
that.
you mentioning me? Like, and then Devo was like, "The question is, what did you do?" Like, everybody's just going back and forth on social media. It was funny.
Bro. And I also did see Eli Apple. I forget who he was talking to.
Bro, he was a classic playoff Eli Apple, bro. Just going on a crazy Twitter spree,
He
bro.
said
Just like,
Cancun on three, man.
yeah, bro, fam. He was like retweeting and shit, like liking hella tweets, like just sizing the Bills, like just making hella tweets about the Bills, saying like, oh, Josh Allen and Diggs need like couples therapy or counseling or something like
Yeah,
that. Like, nah, Eli Apple was
man.
on one, bro.
Nah, Twitter world's going crazy right now in the NFL. I love it. Cowboys, Niners, man. Niners, they just got too much. So we say it every week. Cowboys have kind of held their own throughout the game. They got an opportunity on the muff, fumble punt. Really couldn't take
Mm-hmm.
advantage. Brett Maher missed another PAT. He ended up hitting some field goals. But it was just Dak being Dak late in the game. Niners defense turning up, and then a classic, very last play to end the game. I don't know what the hell they draw up, man, but
Uh,
you got Zeke at center getting pancaked. Like, just say you don't want Zeke to play anymore as a Dallas Cowboy because they're just like sending him out there to get hurt. Like, I don't know. And then they throw like a little stick
dog.
route that just gets blown up. But it seems like they can never answer their questions, and the woes continue for
No.
Dallas. It's not getting easier for them.
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys and the Bills are kind of like in that same tier where
Me too.
they both have, talented rosters. The defenses are nice. Like the quarterbacks are good. They're serviceable. And I think Josh Allen is, steps above Dak Prescott, but they both have those quarterbacks where I think they put a ceiling on the teams. Whereas, Josh Allen, I think he led the league in turnovers in terms of fumbles and picks, and Dak led the league in picks. Like these turnovers aren't helping your team. And earlier in the year, you saw the Cowboys, that defense was turning the ball over at a crazy rate. So it was kind of hiding Dak's mistakes. But, towards the end of the season where you can't, and, in this last game where you got Diggs dropping picks and, not capitalizing on turnovers, it comes back to hurt you. And the Bills and the Cowboys kind of are in that same level where they can get to the playoffs, they can get to the divisional round, and even in the Bills' case, the AFC Championship, but they just don't have enough to take that next step. So, but it was a good game, bro. The Cowboys were in it for most of the game, but kind of like you said, Tony Pollard went down, arguably their most explosive weapon on offense besides CeeDee Lamb, and Dak just turned the ball over. It was really the offense just kind of lost its juice. And I will give credit to the Cowboys. This was the first game we saw where Brock Purdy kind of looked like a rookie. There was some questionable plays out there. Talked about the drop pick. I think he had a few drop picks that should have been going the other way. Just got kind of lucky. I was listening to I believe Bill Simmons. He was like, yeah, he has like that Tua effect where it's like, how many drop picks is this guy gonna have? Like he just gets super lucky on all the drop picks. So that was funny. But yeah, the 49ers they were the better team, and special teams too. You got Robbie Gould out there hitting 50 yarders
50.
like it's nothing. And then, Maher's still missing extra points, which the Cowboys they were competitive for the most part of the game, but I mean at the end, the 49ers kind of like what they did with the Seahawks last week was where they just tightened up and kind of pulled away. It was a good game, but it went pretty much exactly how I thought. And that Micah Parsons Trent Williams matchup was fun too.
Yeah, I did
And
see.
I think there's a way to beat the 49ers. We'll talk about it when we get to our picks. But I'll get to that later. So, but
Well,
yeah,
how about
it was a good game. Or right now, what would you go into it?
yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say the first game off on Sunday, 3 o'clock, Niners, Eagles. I'm rocking with the Niners, man. So I'm gonna tell you, how they're gonna beat the Eagles, and then you can tell me how the Eagles can beat the Niners because you know
I
how you
will.
rocking. Um, first things first, I think there's gonna be a lot of Debo Samuel in the backfield and Christian McCaffrey. You mentioned the weak spot all season long. There's been that Eagles run game defensively. I know they got some players back. I know they've tightened it up a little, but that's still one of their weakest spots. And then you also got CJ Gardner Johnson switching on to the slot, takes away from that deep secondary. So I kind of expect to get the guys going in the slot to George Kittle's. If Debo's lining up in the slot, they got to win on that. And then make Jalen Hurts just take hits. I mean, that's really all you can do on the offensive or on the defensive side of the ball. He's got a lingering shoulder issue. He did take some good hits in that game last week where I was like, okay, his shoulder does look good. He looks like Jalen Hurts. But there's always that going on in his head. One hit could lead to the wrong thing. I think you keep that pressure on Jalen Hurts, uh, try to contain him in the pocket as much as you can, and then really just hope that he misses some throws and the one-on-ones outside. They win their matchups. But I really think the Niners running the football, setting up the play action, doing Kyle Shanahan stuff, things they've been doing all year long. I just think at the end of the day, too many weapons, even with the QB kind of matchup that the Eagles, they have that, but almost every other category, it's either neck and neck or the Niners right above them. I think that's really the only position group you could say where, the Niners are at a lower level than the Eagles is quarterback. I'm saying like they're all neck and neck, or like
Mm,
what position group do you think?
definitely offensive line. I think our
What
offensive line is way better than the San Fran's offensive line.
I think San Fran's got a good O line. Eagles have a
They
great
have a
like.
good O line, but I think the Eagles are clearly better. I mean, outside of Trent Williams, like
All right,
the 49ers do have a good O line, especially in that scheme, that run blocking scheme. They do what they need to do, but I think the Eagles O line is clearly better.
I'm saying like they all match up well when you look at it.
And I'm taking the Eagles receivers too.
I knew you were gonna say that. Like
No,
you
I
just
am,
mentioned
bro.
Brandon Ayuk. I just saw a clip of him
I'm taking
hurdling.
Devontae Smith and AJ Brown over Ayuk.
I mean, I would take AJ Brown over Ayuk too. I'm just saying,
And
like
and Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is better than Brandon Ayuk.
he is,
I'm
but
taking AJ Brown over Debo Samuel.
as a receiving core, bro, I just
Now, okay, now we talk about Kittle. Obviously, Kittle, you throw Kittle in there. He's better than
yeah.
Dallas Goedert. Christian McCaffrey, clearly better. So weapons in total, I could see, but in terms of like receiving core, I think
I,
Eagles got it.
I'm just saying, like both teams match up well against each other. I just
They
think
do.
if it's gonna be one, it's gonna be those zone schemes that Kyle Shanahan loves in the run game. It's gonna be those quick passes, and I think, to be honest, I don't think there's gonna be that many quick passes. I think you got to let Brock Purdy maybe let it rip one or two times. This
You
is an
have to.
NFC Championship game. You're gonna have to take some big plays. I don't want to
Yep.
see that conservative Kyle Shanahan. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be the team that's the least conservative is going to win this ball game. And I know Nick Sirianni's got to he's definitely going to let it fly. So I do think the Eagles got a chance. I just the Niners are the best, most complete team in the NFL. I think they're able to sneak one out on the road in hostile, dangerous Philadelphia.
I mean, I get it. I mean, there's a reason the 49ers in the NFC Championship. Like you kind of mentioned it. I mean, they have a really good defense, offensive weapons, and Kyle Shanahan. But ultimately, you kind of touched on it, and I think that's what's going to be the Eagles' key to success. Is I think Jalen Hurts is going to have to stand in that pocket and hit those big plays. Over the last few weeks to the end of the season, the San Francisco 49ers have been torched by receiver ones. We saw what Devontae Adams did with them, to Jarrett Stidham. Shit, even AJ Green had 90 yards on him. I think like three receptions for 90 yards in the touchdown when they played the Cardinals. DK Metcalf went absolutely crazy against them in the wild card game. And then last week, CD had 10 for 110. Like the San Francisco secondary, if that O line can hold up, stop that pass rush from Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, those great D linemen they got up front. If they give Jalen Hurts time, I think Devontae Smith and AJ Brown will be able to get open down the field. They'll be able to have big games and hit openings in that secondary because I mean, we've seen Tre'Davious Ward. He's been a great signing, but these last few weeks, DK was killing him. CD was getting open. Like that's where they're susceptible at. So I think this great Eagles O line that's why I'm saying it's big. Lane Johnson looked a lot healthier last week. We got no questions about Lane Johnson. Jordan Mailata, he's been a really, really good left tackle for us. Give Hurts time in the pocket and let him take those deep shots. Jalen Hurts has been one of the best deep ball throwers in the league this year. We've seen AJ Brown running down the field multiple times against Dallas. We saw, and it wasn't even Hurts playing; it was Gardner Minshew throwing to Devontae Smith, getting open all over deep in the Dallas secondary. So I don't think you're going to be able to run against the 49ers. That run defense is solid with those linebackers flying everywhere. I think you're going to try to, you still going to try to run the ball even with Jalen Hurts because that run scheme is damn near impossible to stop when you're running that read option and you got an RPO right behind it. So I think we got to make it a point to run the ball. But like you said, ultimately, I think it's going to come down to who make those big plays. And then honestly, I like our secondary with big play Slade, James Bradbury, who had a hell of a game last week, to hold up more than that 49ers secondary, who's been allowing, wide receiver one tears the last few weeks. And Eagles got two legitimate wide receiver ones that could go off on any time. So I think that's what's going to be the main key. We're going to have to just apply as much pressure as we can down the field on that San Fran secondary. And that O-line is going to have to hold up just a little bit. And then on the defensive side of the ball, bro, when is the last game the 49ers lost? Against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are number two in the league in terms of total sacks. Who's number one?
Let me get
Eagles.
Hassan Reddick and company, bro.
Yes. I mean, yeah, Trent Williams is really good. But the Cowboys, who do they have outside of Michael Parsons? Nobody. You could kind of eliminate him. The Eagles, that D line is going to have to get pressure on Brock Purdy and make him very uncomfortable in the pocket. We're going to have to make him just make them quick reads because I believe, like what you said, the team that take those deep shots is going to be the one. Those big plays is going to kind of separate stuff. So if we can get Hassan Reddick going, Josh Sweat, hopefully he's back. Brandon Graham is having his best career so far in his best season so far in his career. You know what Fletcher Cox could do. So we just gonna need that relentless pass rush. You know, multiple guys with 6+ sacks, guys with 10+ sacks on that team. Hassan Reddick, Nick Bosa, you could say he's DPOY. Bro, Hassan Reddick had one less sack than him this season and had 5 turnovers. Like you could say he's defensive player of the year. He's been one of if not the best pass rusher this season. So I think those are going to be the two main key matchups if the Eagles want to win this game. They're going to have to, that pass rush is going to have to continue to be great. Fletcher Cox and those guys are going to have to step up. Hassan Reddick going to have to keep playing the way he's been playing all season. And then Jalen Hurts is going to have to hit those big throws down the field because they're going to be open. History tells us those guys are going to be open. CD was open, DK was open, Devontae Adams was open, AJ Green was open. All these guys were open. So AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are going to be open. We just got to capitalize.
All right, man. Yeah, this should be a good one. That's the first game up, and then obviously AFC Championship get a rematch. Bengals Chiefs, man, hobbling Pat Mahomes, beat up Bengals O line still. Um, really getting that rematch, and is Joe Burrow, is he gonna keep riding this wave of being Patrick Mahomes' father? Like, is
3-0.
Pat Mahomes finally gonna win? Well, I'll tell you, you were a trend guy, right? And this season, the second time the Browns Bengals played, I said the Bengals, they've never beaten the Browns. Like, it won't start now. Guess what? Bengals finally beat the Browns. So I'm kind of thinking, like, the Bengals have never lost to the Chiefs. The Chiefs have never beaten Joe Burrow. So I think it's kind of time to switch tides once again. And I think the Chiefs are just going to have the edge. They've been thinking about this game for 365 days or whatever it is. So they're
Yeah.
gonna come out ready to play. Obviously the Bengals hungry to get back, but the Bengals played well. I just Pat Mahomes could be throwing off one leg, one arm. I'm rocking with the Chiefs. The Bengals win now. Not surprising. I think this game's gonna kind of be a shootout. Not in essence of a 40-point game, but I think it's gonna be a 28-25 game winning
Yeah.
drive. Maybe, Bengals go ahead, tied up, maybe go for two. Pat Mahomes gets the ball back, does what he did against like the Bills, march down the field, find a way. I think this is gonna be some two good games this week, but I think the Chiefs got the edge slightly, very, very close.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what you just said there. Whereas, like, if Patrick Mahomes is taking snaps under center, if he's standing in that pocket, like, the Chiefs have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Like, it's just that simple. But that injury does scare me. He was legit limping on the field, making passes and stuff. And I think the Bengals defense is a lot better than the Jags. I mean, we saw what they did to Josh Allen and the Bills last week. One of the most high-powered offenses. They just took away what they did best, and that's the deep shot down the field. Josh Allen really wasn't able to run around a lot either. So we know they're going to cook up something to kind of shut down Patrick Mahomes. Probably going to see the double team on Kelsey all game, kind of force the Chiefs to do something that they're not really used to doing. And if there's any quarterback I want, under that situation, it's Pat Mahomes. I think he'll be more than capable to adjust during the game. Andy Reid, they're going to be able to adjust and make plays, but I don't know, man. The Bengals have just been, it seems like they've gotten better and better every single week. Like, they started off slow, a couple bad losses early in the season, week 1 to the Steelers, and then they lost to the Cowboys, I believe, early on too. Started off slow. We were like, there's questions. But I mean, as the season went on, they just gotten better and better. And now they're playing the best football of the year. And this is when you want to be playing it. Ultimately, I just think those weapons, Jamar Chase has a big game. T. Higgins, he's always a reliable target. That run game with Joe Mixon, we saw it pick up. I'm sure they like to run it a lot more. I just think Joe Burrow, once again, just very decisive, knows where he wants to go with that football. And the Bengals, they kind of just overwhelm that Chiefs defense with those weapons. And it's to where, it's been the story of Patrick Mahomes' career. Like, if there's any hole on any Patrick Mahomes team we've seen this far, it's been their defense. Now, this defense has been playing a little better. I kind of just mentioned they got a good pass rush. They get it to the quarterback, and that'll be something to see, especially with that Bengals injured O-line, but ultimately, I don't know, man. Joe Burrow hasn't lost to Patrick Mahomes yet, and I don't think he plans on starting it this week. So I got the Bengals winning, man.
I'm not mad at it. I do think you obviously said the Bengals gotten better and better every week, which has transpired. So can't be mad at it. I think these are going to be some two good games this weekend, man. Championship weekend. 2 weeks removed from the Super Bowl. Obviously, got that little bye in between with a little flag football matchup. Uh, Still gonna say bring it back to Orlando instead of Vegas. Like, but it is what it is. Otherwise, we'll get Alvin Kamara punching people again this year. So yeah, I mean, come on, Orlando family friendly, Vegas not so family friendly. Like, yeah, you see what the NFL is trying to do, man. Goodell setting up the players, but
Setting
nonetheless,
them
man,
up.
that wraps up our picks for the week. We both knotted up and we both got different picks this week. So this is, could shake up. We'll see. Might have to do a little something for the Super Bowl. Uh just bet wise or something like that. I don't know. I'll think of something. Popping
Yeah,
some
I'm sure.
or something. Yeah.
I'm sure if the
What?
Eagles make it, you're just gonna bet against them no matter what. So
See, I wouldn't even do that, bro. But the Eagles gotta get there first. Let's calm down, man. You trying to
that's why I said
I'll
if.
knock on the
I
wood.
didn't say when.
I help you out, man. But I mean, you recently saw a Super Bowl, man. You actually gonna take off work? Like, that's the real question.
No, I'm not missing that $10 an hour. My
Yeah,
AirPods are
fam.
gonna be in. Hoodie's gonna be up. I'm not gonna be missing out, bro.
That's crazy. But I mean, that wraps up our picks for this week. Wraps
Oh no,
up.
if the Eagles make it, maybe, bro. Maybe if the Eagles make it.
You got to, bro. Episode 22 of the podcast, man. But the Eagles have been winning when you're at work, so I don't know if you want to switch that up.
Damn, the Eagles been winning in general, bro. When I'm not
I
at
don't know
work,
about
when I'm
in
at work,
general, bro. I'm just saying, like, you don't want to
what do you
switch up.
mean?
You know, it's good.
That is
I'm a
true.
superstitious person, bro. So I know past 3 weeks what I did worked, I'm doing the exact same thing for the next game. Like, that's just how I am, bro.
Nah, I feel it.
You know. But that wraps up, man. Episode 22, Goal2Go Pod, man. Apple Music,
So,
Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, Goal2Go Pod. Like, comment, subscribe, share. We'll be back next week. Uh 2 weeks from the
that's
Super
super.
Bowl, as I
Yeah,
said. Ready with that preview. We'll probably do the final season grades next week because you pretty much know how they're gonna end besides those two teams. So we might
yeah.
do those next week.
Or we
Wrap
could
it
we
up.
could split it because we're
Split
gonna
it
need
two
something to
weeks.
do the week before the week in between. Do like AFC next
Oh
week,
yeah,
NFC
yeah,
beginning
yeah,
of the
yeah.
week. Yeah.
So yeah, the next 2 weeks, whatever it is. But
Mm-hmm.
that's it, man. Episode 22. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Catch y'all next week, man.
Appreciate it.